Madonna então está de volta ao Brasil com um show que é sobre música, é claro, mas mais do que os outros é sobre ideia.
Well, music should be about ideas. Ideas inspire music, right?
True.
So when you do a show, you need to do something that's visual and entertaining, and that requires ideas as well.
Right.
I've never done a show where I just did all my songs in a sort of sequence. I always like to tell a story.
But in a way, I mean, especially with this album maybe, and with this show, you made the ideas a little bit more graphic, I would say. I mean, when you talk about, when you see, well, you see a lot of blood right at the beginning of the show. You see, that's quite strong. I mean, and you really did want to show that on stage, didn't you? And why that?
Well, the show actually starts with a church inside of a cathedral. So we start with the idea of religion. And we start with the idea of, I like to play with the iconography of religion. And also, I have a kind of paradoxical relationship with religion, organized religion. I was raised Catholic.
Since long, right?
My whole life,
yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
I think I'm a very spiritual person, but also I think that the Catholic Church is full of hypocrisy and is very patriarchal. And so I'm fighting with the idea of my own consciousness wrestling with God and church and the power of church. And then we move into women having power with Revolver and all of my female assassins. So, if anybody tries to mess with us, you know, they will be sorry. And then we move into Gangbang, which is completely inspired by the films of Russ Myers in the 60s. Yes. And they're kind of camp, they're a little bit extreme, they're extremely violent, but they're funny. It's meant to be funny, the violence of it, because, you know, how could one person, shoot that many people?
Right.
So it's a song, it's meant to be, there's supposed to be humor involved in it. So I would say the first chunk of the show is quite cinematic. I wanted it to be like you were watching a film.
Right. But still, the funny side of this part of the show is kind of subtle, because what most people see, and most people get a little bit shocked by that, is like the violence. I mean, you're not really advocating for violence at that moment, are you? How is that a joke?
I think we live in a society that's, filled with violent imagery. Most action movies, it's just usually men with guns, I think. So what's shocking for the audience maybe is to see me with a gun.
Yes.
But the idea is, it's important to see that there's different layers of meanings in the show, and you shouldn't take any of it literally.
Well, and after all these years, you're still like touching the same subjects. I mean, I have the impression that you never really rest in terms of showing people your ideas. Religion, for instance, religion. Back in, say, late 80s, there was like a prayer and stuff, and you're already pushing the envelope. You still keep pushing the same envelope. Is it necessary? I mean, people never get hold of, never really get the ideas. Or do you what is it? What is the point?
I think you're not an artist if you're not dissecting and deconstructing ideas. That's the job of an artist, and obviously the idea of religion is a big subject for me, something I'm interested in. The way that our people relate to the idea of religion and their relationship with God, and I'm very fascinated by it, and I always have been. So it's always going to be a big part of my work.
True. Well, it's in this show specifically. It's not just about religion. This is just the beginning. But you go.
It's about religion, God, love,
everything,
revenge, disappointment. The whole show is a journey from darkness to light.
Right.
So,
but especially at the end when you play, I love that image. I mean, it's you and many faces. You see that there's a big mix, which again put you in a little bit of a trouble lately in Paris. I mean, I guess.
Really?
Yeah, they got in trouble because you have the image of, or maybe the eyes of Le Pen, and there was the swastika and the Nazi symbol. Yeah. They didn't really enjoy that. Was that like something you did on purpose? No.
That is piece, that film that was created. Is about the intolerance that we human beings have for one another, and how much we judge people before knowing them. That's why it's done to the song Nobody Knows Me.
True.
So, yes, all images in the video were chosen purposefully. It seems to be that there's a growing kind of intolerance going on around the world, in Greece, in France, everywhere, where people are trying to, kick out all the immigrants and make people cover up and not show what their religious affiliation is. And it's actually kind of scary times, and I'm trying to point that out. And a lot of, think about what's going on in Russia towards the gay community. So I'm calling attention to that intolerance and asking people to pay attention, to wake up, to see how we are just creating more chaos in the world with this kind of intolerance.
But after all these years, are you a little bit more optimistic? I mean, did things really change in the last, say, 3 decades? Or they got a little bit worse?
I think that in some respects things are better. Gay marriages are accepted in certain parts of the United States, for instance. And I would say that the gay community in general has a bigger voice, more power. But on the other hand, more intolerance is happening. So, the same thing goes for women and all minority groups. To me, there's a great polarization happening in the world. I think people who really want to make the world a better place, who really do see humanity as one and the same, are speaking up and taking action. But then there are a lot of people who are afraid, who are being intimidated, who are being taken advantage of because they're poor, hungry, underprivileged.
Right.
These are the people that tend to get preyed upon by government and politicians, to get them to manipulate them into thinking that if we get rid of all the gays in this community, or all the Muslims, or all the Somalians, or that we'll suddenly, our community will be better. And if you tell that to a person who's starving, who doesn't have a job, they want to hear anything. They want to hear what the solution to the problem might be. So, like I said, I think there's an equal amount of good, and there's a battle going on right now.
So, some improvements and some drawbacks.
Yeah.
So in the very last minute, what's the artist's role behind all that? I mean, do you feel responsible for the good change, maybe?
I do think it's an artist's responsibility to call attention to what's going on in the world and to help bring people together.
Right.
That, art is there to kind of track what's going on in the world, to make social commentary, to bring people together, to provoke people to ask questions.
Indeed.
It's the asking of the question that gets you to the next stage, which is, why is this happening? What's really going on? What is the reason for this? Art is meant to provoke, and then once you ask the questions, you get the answers. And then once you have the knowledge, you have the power to make an informed decision for yourself.
Very good.
So.
One very final question, because if I don't ask this, Brazilian fans are going to kill me. What about the whole thing? I mean, I like the way you play...
Don't want to be responsible for your death.
No, come on, please don't. The fact that you play Lady Gaga's songs, right? I mean, was it were you paying the same... what was the intention? A joke, a tribute, a kind of like wink to her? I mean, what is the whole point?
How about all of the above?
You want them to think about it.
Well, I'm a really big fan of that song, and I'm glad that I could help her write it.
Oh, that's the fact. Okay, let's make it very subtle and leave it like that.
Okay.
One more time. You're going to be very welcome in Brazil, as usual.
I'm looking forward. I love playing in Brazil.
I can't imagine how we are looking forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I'll see you there.